The FBI investigation into Hillary Clinton using a private email server has now entered its final stages, and now new reaction from Clinton. Word the former Secretary of State may be interviewed in the coming days or weeks. We know the FBI already questioned her longtime advisor, Huma Abedin. Clinton acknowledging in an interview her top aides have been part of the investigation. But when asked if she herself has been contacted, she repeated what she said before, that no one has reached out to her, and then appeared to downplay it all by calling it, quote, a security inquiry rather than a criminal investigation.
What's your answer to those people who think, gee, FBI inquiry, that's a big deal? What do you say to them?
I say what I've said now for many, many months. It's a security inquiry. I always took classified material seriously. There was never any material marked classified that was sent or received by me, and I look forward to this being wrapped up.
Let me add just a little bit to this before I come to Juan. Her spokesperson, Brian Fallon, says, you know, her attorney is in constant contact with the Justice Department. So is she playing word games with us when she says she hasn't been contacted? I mean, she knows she's in the pipeline. She's got her attorney looking into it.
Sure. I think that she was talking about being asked to come in for the interview. Because as you were saying, Huma Abedin's been interviewed. I think other people, some people taking the fifth. So there are other people who already have been, as you say, in line to be questioned. The question is, when does her moment come? And that's going to be a big moment for her. It's almost, in my mind, less the big moment in terms of what she has to say. We know what she has to say. Big moment in terms of media attention, and it compounds her issue with trustworthiness and honesty, which is a tremendous issue for Mrs. Clinton.
Okay, so David Kendall is representing her. We know him. We know his name from David Petraeus. There's a little bit of a problem, though, with Mr. Kendall. Critics are saying that because he actually handled those backup hard drives and didn't have the clearance to handle them, that this is a sticky wicket for Mrs. Clinton to be represented by him.
There are so many sticky wickets here. She could own her own sporting goods store and fill it with croquet supplies. David Kendall has some problems on a number of levels. He also, as you know, represented President Bill Clinton.
Yeah, I remember that.
When he was wading through his own bog of
sticky wickets.
Yeah, he had several wickets in his blazer. And James Comey, no stranger to the Clintons. So this may actually be a showdown between Comey and Kendall, who have met in legal proceedings involving the Clintons in the past.
So our big question in all of this, Juan alluded to, and that is why this doesn't really touch her, Jedediah, politically.
Yeah.
But the trust issue definitely does.
I think it touched her, but I think people have, unless she gets indicted, unless there's some major thing that happens here, I think most people have made up their mind on this issue. And I think it either bothers them, I think they feel either that there was a lack of transparency here, that she's not trustworthy, that she's either a liar or incompetent, and this is too much of an issue and they can't go to the polls for her, or they've made a decision to believe her and say she's complied with investigations and they haven't found anything and this is good enough for me at this point. So I think that trust issue definitely played a role up to this point, but people, unless something major breaks, I think this is not.
So, Juan, what message is she sending by continually calling this, as Judge Napolitano has many times pointed out, a security inquiry? When he says that the State Department conducts security inquiries, this is an open FBI investigation. She is being investigated by the FBI. Seems like she's in denial of that fact.
No, I think she's aware of it, but the thing is she has not been informed that she is a target of a criminal investigation. And that's very important language for her. She does not want to be titled as a criminal suspect in front of the American people. She has enough issues. So I think for her, she wants to be very clear because she feels, remember, the New York Times broke this story. Normally we'd say, oh, that's left-wing media. But the media's been on her case about this, and so she wants to back people up, and she's using language to do it.
Yes, but is she the target of that investigation? I guess it depends on what your definition of the word is.
Oh, my goodness.
Once again.
Wow.
Good luck, Juan.
Oh,
All
well,
right.
I think I should shut up. Yep.
It must be Monday. That's very cute. All right, well, sticking to the ever-fun presidential politics, Donald Trump over the weekend taking dead aim at Bill Clinton's sex scandals and at what he calls Hillary's enabling of her husband's behavior.
There is nobody that was worse, nobody, than Bill Clinton with women. Okay? Nobody. In the history of politics, Hillary Clinton's husband abused women more than any man that we know of in the history of politics, right? Now she's going to buy $90 million worth of ads about Donald Trump, right? $90 million. She was an unbelievably nasty, mean enabler. And what she did to a lot of those women is disgraceful. So put that in her bonnet and let's see what happens, okay?
Mr. Trump this morning defending those comments, saying Hillary has no business criticizing his record on women.
She can't talk about me because nobody respects women more than Donald Trump. And I'm going to take I will be better for women by a big factor than Hillary Clinton.
Meantime, Hillary Clinton says she's not going to run, quote, an ugly race, but says she'll run on the issues. Jedediah, at this point, do you think she can avoid these attacks that are coming her way from Donald Trump?
I mean, what is he trying to do here? This is how you win a primary. That's great. If he's looking toward the general election, people like Bill Clinton. He's very, very popular. And the general election public is going to look at this and say, this is from the past. Once again, they've already made up their minds about this. If it bothers them, if this character issue bothers them when we talk about Monica Lewinsky and we talk about Hillary enabling attacks, they will have decided that already. That's done. That's over. That's the past. She's going to come out looking good in this because she's going to say, I'm focused on the issues. This is all nonsense. He needs to focus on issues. This is a woman whose career has been a disaster policy-wise. Hit her where it hurts and you'll look like you're above the board and you'll look like you're living in the present moment.
I don't know. I mean, he's been effective at branding his opponents, as we saw with Lion Ted and was it
Little Marco.
That's a primary.
And nasty, mean enabler. He is labeling Hillary Clinton.
Well, women have to make this call. Look, the starting point, though, is very clear, Sandra. He is at a huge deficit with American women right now. His unfavorables are like 70–80%. It's unbelievable, right, that you would start from that point with the largest voting bloc in the country. 53% of voters in 2012 were women. So, but he's also got to watch out for what Ted Cruz did to him. Remember, Ted Cruz called him a serial philanderer. Talked about problems that he had in his own sex life, Donald Trump. And that came from Ted Cruz. So imagine then if you say to American women, hey, what about Bill Clinton? And what about what he did way back? And some of you younger women, you may not know this, but, there were charges against Bill Clinton and he was impeached. It feels a little old to me, but I don't know how it impacts younger women who are far more sensitive. But I do think back to, the song about, staying with your man. And I think there's some people who say, you know what, look, that family stayed together despite all the issues.
Great point. He has brought his family up on most stages that we have seen. He's had his daughters present, in some cases his granddaughters, his wife, Harris.
And not just present, speaking.
Correct.
Speaking for him, speaking out, on the campaign trail. I would say a couple of things. For one, Bill Clinton, I would like to see some of the latest research on how popular he is. He's had some missteps along the political trail here, right? And he's had his voice is hoarse. He doesn't sound strong. And I'm not criticizing. I'm just pointing out the facts that, I'd like to see if people think that he is the same Bill Clinton as he was 20 years ago. That's my first question. The second has to do with this idea of really what's in their past. Okay, so we heard over the weekend Donald Trump using the word impeachment along with Bill Clinton. He didn't say that it was because of the sex. He said it was because of the lies. This goes back to the trustworthiness. I see a thread through the needle up until convention time, and then maybe a shift to general election strategy. I don't know. That's just how I see him playing it.
But does this give her an opportunity, Hillary Clinton, Kennedy, to bring up some of Donald Trump's controversial remarks, agree with it or don't agree with it, from his past about women?
Yeah, if he slams her against the boards, it absolutely does. And she's actually a better candidate when she pivots towards the issues. I mean, we've seen that from her. We've seen she elevates her game when she gets to just talk about facts and figures and be the librarian. You know, it's not necessarily scintillating politics, but that's when she does better. When the Clintons fall apart is when they have to answer questions about this. And if he can somehow turn this into a relevant discussion where the press will try and pin her down, as they did a few months ago on the campaign trail, and that's, you know, when Bill Clinton is improvisationally trying to answer questions about his past discretions and he gets really frustrated, that's when he falls apart. If Trump can shift the dynamic right over there, then that can be somewhat harmful.
I mean, we've seen him yelling at protesters, so on and so forth, but Donald Trump could really stick something on her, as you're talking about, with this lingo of labels and whatnot, and then shift. I mean, we've seen him do it.
The critique of Trump, though, remember, the critique of Trump is that he's light on issues, is that he can do this well. This is reality TV. He can pick on you. He can pull stuff from the past. People want to know that he can handle the issues. I personally want to sit here and say, this guy can take her on foreign policy, on key issues, and leave her looking like the woman who's out of her league. You know what I'm saying? That's what I...
It's already going
It'll
there.
be interesting
Not even
to
in the
see.
general. Yep. All right, we'll keep watching it. A top advisor, meanwhile, to President Obama.